Hi everyone, welcome to today's Lunch and Learn webinar. My name's Stephen and I'm joined again by David, our Service Delivery Team Leader. In today's webinar, David will be giving you a detailed look at the banking menu. So if you have any questions during this session, you should be able to see a questions box somewhere on your screen. You can pop your questions in there and we'll take some time at the end to go through them. It's worth noting that all the webinars that we do will be recorded and shared with all of our customers afterwards. They'll also live on our YouTube channel, which you can find via our website. David, are you ready to go?
If I pass. I'm all ready.
Cool.
Thanks, Stephen. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. So we're just going to go through the banking menu today. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully everyone should be able to see that.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're just going to run through the banking menu today. So the first things with the banking menu, just to remember and just to remind you all of, it's not linked in any way, shape or form to your bank account or anything like that. It's just a way of being able to record the paying in book and being able to reconcile your practice manager account information based on what's in your live bank accounts as well. So it's more like a bit of a full safe, just to make sure all your payment information and dates are correct, the amounts are correct, and it's a good way just to be able to reconcile with your live bank statement. So the banking menu is just located here. So first of all, just need to set up the account details. So these are just a few example ones just here.
Sorry, David, we've lost your microphone there. I think it might have been disconnected. Yeah, you're back there now.
Back now, yeah. So the practice accounts can be set up within here. So that's just under the banking menu and then account details. You might already see there's already some already there created. If they're not, you just have to just add the bank account, whatever you want to call it. So the account name here, for example, you could call it test. You don't have to put the account number, sort code, bank name, address, or anything like that. That's entirely up to you if you did want to. There's no demand for that. You don't have to in that sense. So if we click OK, so you see there it's now created an account name within there. Once you've got your accounts set up within Practice Manager, if you go to the miscellaneous menu and then down to preferences, if you then go down to banking preferences, if you have a default account that you always use and it's always the practice account, always a certain account, you can click on the drop down here and select the account you want to always use. That way it's going to default it for you going forward. Then you've also got a couple of other tick boxes here, just show invoice number on the paying in slips if you print them off, and also if you want the patient's name to show on the paying in slips as well. So if we just click OK, so now our bank accounts are set up within Practice Manager. The first things first within the banking menu is you've got the bank monies option, and that takes you through into the paying in book. So the paying in book itself will record any payments you take in Practice Manager. So when you go into the accounts menu and receive a payment, once you've received that payment, it will then go into the banking, bank monies, and paying in book. So if I just click in here, so this is just a few examples that are already listed in here. So these are payments I've received physically through my received payment screen. Now the paying in book is where we're going to tell the system when it's actually physically cleared in our account. So for example, if you're receiving checks, you might get given the check on a day, but you might not actually get it banked and cleared into the account a few days later. So this is where you can tell the system when it's physically been banked. So at the top here, you have the account you want to do the paying in book for. So by default, we selected it to always be the practice account. But if it is another account, you can tick different methods in here. Paying in reference will just increase each time. You don't need to change that. That just increases by 1 every time you do a new paying in reference. And then the date paid in, you'll set that when you actually physically banked the money or when the money physically cleared in your account. So down here, you might have, say, 20 different payments. They might be checks, they might be credit card, they might be direct debit payments, etc. So you're going to set the date of when they were physically banked, and then you tick the payments that physically cleared on that date. So obviously you're not going to click all of them if they didn't click all on that date. So you can change the date at the top here. So if you want it to be, say, the paying date was the 5th of August. Let's say it was just this payment and this payment that cleared on those days. So it's just going to show date paid in on the 5th of August for just these two payments just here. Once I've done that, if I then click OK, that will then bank those entries and show they've been banked in the system. It will ask you if you want to print a paying in slip. So you can either click yes or no on that one. And that is now banked. So if we now go into the banking menu, bank monies and paying in book, you'll notice those entries have now disappeared because we told the system they physically cleared into our account. Now, if for any reason you accidentally bank the wrong payment or you put it through for the wrong date, anything like that, if you go to the bank monies menu, you can then go down to reverse paying in slip. If I then click in here, select the account you're doing it for. So usually it's always going to be your practice account or whatever your main account is for your practice that you set up. Once you've selected that, if you then click on the magnifying glass next to paying in ref, it will give you all the list of paying in references that are in there. So the one we've just done there is on the 9th of August. We put the date paid in as the 9th of August, or sorry, the 5th of August on this one. And if I then click on view paying in slip, it will show me all the payments that I told the system were banked on that date. So if we know that those are the ones we want to reverse, you'd then click on that one, click OK, and click OK. That would then reverse all those payments on that paying in slip, and it would then put them back into the paying in book to then go through and tick for the correct date if it was done in error on the wrong day. So if I then say, for example, these were actually banked on the 7th, and if I tick on this one, and this one, if I now click OK, they will now be banked on the system. So that's the paying in book and what it does. You can also reprint paying in slips, or you can reprint paying in slips by date as well, just by simply clicking on there, select the account, then select the paying in reference and select on the one you want. You also have the opportunity to view the paying in slip before you actually print it. So you can check what payments are on there first of all. Click on that one. You can see the individuals that were all put on there. And you can see what's on there before you then click OK and click OK to print it. So that's the paying in book as a whole. Now, sometimes you'll find, for example, like direct debit payments or BACS transfers, they go near enough banked in straight away. So there is an option within, if you go to the miscellaneous menu, if you then go down to preferences, and then if you go down to lookup table maintenance, and then if you go to accounts, and then payment methods, what you can do within here, so if you receive any, for example, debit or credit card payments and they go instantly into your account, there's no delay, they go live straight in. What you can do is you can tick the auto bank option. So if I wanted to say all direct debit payments to go direct into my bank, I don't want them to go into the paying in book, I want them to just by default get auto banked. I can tick this, and I can then tick what bank account I want them to get auto banked into. If I say practice account, so next time I receive a direct debit payment, when I'm doing my receive payment in the receive payment screen, it won't go into the paying in book, it will get auto banked and it bypasses the paying in book and just gets auto banked straight away. So you don't have to sort of mess around with those sort of payments if that's something that's instant and goes in straight away. Then we also have the bank statement. So the bank statement, this is where you can then click on to what account you want to view for. You can then type in the date range. So if I just want to type in just for this year, up until all dates, that will show me everything that's in the bank statement. It will show me the dates everything got banked in, the detail of what it was for, what paying in reference it was done under. If you click on one of the payments, if you click on show details, it will then take you into the relevant invoice screen or relevant payment screen it's relating to. So we can see here, this is related to this invoice number, the paid was down here, and things like that will all show in there for you. You do also have an option on the left hand side here. So the rec column is classed as reconciliation. So you can manually go through your bank statement here and reconcile against your live bank statement by printing it off and then just making sure the payments match So for example, you could check your bank statement to make sure on the 7th of August that I had a payment from Mr. Alan Abbott for £100. I could then tick here, and that would then tell the system it's been reconciled with my account. I know it's gone in there. It's my Lloyds TSB account or HSBC account. And I can click OK to save that. Following on from that, we do also have the reconcile bank account option. So instead of doing it manually through the bank statement, you can use either method 1 or method 2 to do this. So method 1, if I was to click on this now, method 1, you would select the practice account you're looking to reconcile. Then you'd put the statement date that you have in front of you. So if you, for example, you're logging into your live account, you would put the statement date as today. Or if you receive paper copies of your statements, you'd put the last statement date that you've received on there. And then you'd put the beginning balance of the statement you have in front of you. Or if it's a live bank statement, you do it from the last date you've last reconciled from that time. And then the ending balance for that. So the beginning balance and the ending balance would just be entered in there. These are just some random figures just to give you an example. And if I click OK, it will then filter through all the payments that haven't been reconciled. And then you can then tick off the ones you are correct. Then if they're not correct, you have the opportunity to go back and say reverse any payments that might have gone through the wrong date or for the wrong amount. You can then go back to the reverse payment screen and put them on for the correct amount and things like that. So you can then just tick through the ones you know are correct. If you get halfway through and you go, one payment's not correct, but you don't want to lose the ticks you've already done, what you can do is you can click Finish Later. So the next time you return back to it once you've made your adjustments, those ticks are still remembered and they're still there. And then you can then go back through and tick off the relevant ones. Hopefully, when you get to the point of it's all reconciled correctly, your difference should eventually get down to 0. And then you'll then have the opportunity to click Reconcile. If it's not getting down to 0 and it's not getting to that reconcile option, then it must be that something's wrong within Practice Manager that's not correct with your live bank statement. And it may just be that you need to correct the entry in Practice Manager, whether it's the wrong payment date, the wrong invoice date. It might be the payment date you have in Practice Manager is fallen in July, but on your bank statement it's fallen into August, so it then doesn't reconcile correctly for your accounts. So if I just click cancel out there. We do also have within that bank menu, you have method 2. And method 2 is just you'd select the practice account or the account you're reconciling with. You'd then put the end date and then just have the ending balance. And then it's very similar to what the screen we were just in. You'd click OK. And then again, you would just tick the payments that you want. And then your difference should eventually get down to 0. There should be no discrepancies. And then you can click reconcile. So if we click cancel out of that. So once you've done your reconciliation, you also have the option to set up what we call recurring payments. So recurring payments can either be money that you receive in on a regular basis or direct debit payments or payments that you send out on a regular basis from within the practice. First of all, you have to set them up. So first of all, if we go to recurring payments and then go to recurring payment details, this is where we can set up the descriptions of either money coming in out on a regular basis, in and out in this screen here. So first of all, we just click on the add option. So the description will be whatever it is you're either receiving in or receiving out. So for example, let's just say we make a regular subscription for office supplies. The next payment that's due, the date you're due to the next direct debit payment that might be leaving your account, or the next payment date you're receiving in. So you would select what that would be. Let's say that's August the 5th, it was yesterday, and click OK. The amount that either you receive in or send out, whatever that is, the amount there, let's say it's £20. If it is VAT applicable, you just set if it's got VAT on it as well. You would then tell the system if it's a credit or a debit. So if it's a debit, that'll be money going out. If it's a credit, that's money coming in. How often that happens, if it's every X months, so if it's every once a month or twice a month, or if it's every X weeks. The every column just here, this number here replaces whatever the X is that you select in here. So if I was to put 2 in here, that would then be every 2 months I make a direct debit payment. If I change it to 1, that would be every 1 month I make a direct debit payment. Where it says remaining, so if it's an ongoing rolling contract, it never finishes. In here, you would just type in 999. If it's a fixed term contract of a direct debit, so let's say you might have 48 months or 36 months on it, you would just put the remaining amount of months you've got left on that contract term to pay. So let's say you're halfway through it and you've got another 12 months to pay off, you would just put in, I've got 12 remaining payments to make. Then once it hits that and finishes that 12th payment, it will stop putting any more recurring payments in there. Who it's to or who it's from. So if you're sending money out, it'd be from, or sorry, if you're sending money out, it'd be who it's to. Any money you're receiving in, it'd be who it's from. So let's just say it's to PC World as an example. The type of payment, let's say it's just a direct debit that you send out and have set up. The account the money leaves out of, let's say it's the practice account. If you pay every month, you would just leave this all ticked. If you only pay on certain months, and there's not any months you don't, there might be a month you don't ever pay in May, you can untick May and it will never put a payment through from May. When you get down to payment group, this is where you're going to tell the system what type of outgoing or incoming it is. So let's just say this one here, we could do it stationary, office supplies. If you're on a group system and it's a recurring payment related to a specific surgeon, you would select who the surgeon is within here. These are just some example ones. You would select in that if you're on a group system. Once you do that, if you click OK, what that's now going to do, it's now going to track in the background every time you need a recurring payment. What the system won't do is it won't actually post those recurring payments on your system. It will just keep a track of when you're due to make them. So if you have, say, 10 direct debits going out every month, instead of doing an outgoing payment 10 times, what the system will do, if you go to the banking menu and then recurring payments, if you go to post recurring payments, it will then make a track in here of what you're due to send out. And it will then ask you just to tick the ones you know have left your account. And then once you've done that and you've ticked all the ones that you know have left your account, you can just click post. And that will then post all those outgoing or incoming payments on your system straight away. It saves you then having to go into the outgoings column to set up 10 individual ones if you have 10 direct debits a month, or vice versa if you're receiving money in. It saves you having to do it 10 different times. Once you've set it up, it will then remember that for you. Then also within the banking menu, you have also got account transfers. So if you maybe record your personal accounts on Practice Manager and also your practice accounts, sometimes you might want to either top up your practice account from your personal accounts. So you might transfer, say, £10,000 from your personal account into your practice account. The only way to get that to show within Practice Manager is to do what we call an account transfer. So in here you would say, let's say I'm transferring £10,000. The type of payment might be a debit card. It's going from my personal account and it's going into my practice account, and any details you want to put with it, you might want to just put top up of funds. And then if I click OK, then on my bank statement, that would all show an account transfer has come in and out, depending on what account you select. So if I just put in, say, this year, that would then show the top up of funds, £10,000 has come in there. Then if I was to show it on the personal front, you'll see it's then left £10,000 as a debit. So you can track your personal and your practice account within here as well. But just remember, it's just not linked to your bank account in any way, shape or form. It's just a good full safe of just being able to just track that your Practice Manager accounts are correct with what's actually going through your bank, so that when you come at the end of the tax year to send off your accounts to your accountant, you know they're going to be pretty accurate, if not 100% accurate straight away, rather than having to locate that payment sort of halfway through the year, trying to think what happened to it, why has it got the wrong date on it, why has it got the wrong money value and things like that. So that's sort of the banking menu in a nutshell. I don't know if you've had any questions come in, Stephen.
Hi, David. Yeah, we've had one come in. So Is there a way to reverse account transfers if you make an error, or do you just have to transfer a negative amount or make a transfer back?
So you can, probably the best method in terms of tracking it in that sense is to do an account transfer back. You could just put in the details done in error. That way, at least you've got a good track, because it could just be that your accountant might go, well, why is there this random payment here? So it's always good if you do make a mistake just to transfer it back for the same amount, but just put in the details, this was done in error in there, so that everyone knows what's happened in that front.
Okay. That's actually the only question has come in, David. We might give it 10, 15 seconds to see if there's anything else to come in.
No problems.
No, I don't see anyone else typing, David.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, okay. I think that's it for the session then. Anything else from you, Dave?
No, I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining, and I hopefully see you at the next one.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And remember, this will be on YouTube. It will be made available later on, the recording, and we'll be sharing it out via email later today or Monday too. So yeah, cool. Thanks, David. And oh, sorry, we have one more question for Lisa here, David. With regards to reconciling how if you have made errors in the past. Sorry, I just have to scroll down here 1 second.
Sure.
I can't see the full question. Sorry, okay. With reconciling, if you made errors in the past, is there any way of setting it back to 0 to start afresh?
So that is quite a common question that does come up. So if you've never really used the banking menu before and it's something that you're looking to start using, what we'd sort of recommend doing is if you go to the banking menu and then if you go to account details, what we sometimes suggest doing is adding what we call a bin account. So that way what you can do, if I just set up a bin account here and click OK, if you go into your banking menu, bank monies, let's say you only want to start using it from maybe today or the beginning of the next month, and you want to get rid of all the payments that are in there that you maybe haven't done it for, or you can't really go back to it anymore. If you go to the paying in book, if you go to the account and go to bin account, if you then click on all and set all payments to go to the bin account for the date you're doing it, make sure if you want to change the date, you're more than welcome to. Click OK. So that when you go into the next time, it will be just new payments that are coming in from when you wanted to start using it. So that is quite a common one that does come up. If you haven't really used the banking menu before, or it's something you're looking to just start using, obviously if you've never used it, all the payments you've taken in Practice Manager since you've started using it will have built up in there. So what we'd normally recommend doing is just creating a bin account, pay them all off into that bin account, and then make a point of when you're going to start doing it, and then start doing it into the Practice account.
Okay. Cool, thanks, David. I've seen 1 or 2 people joining there close to the end of the session. Just to reiterate that this will be, the session is recorded and we will be putting it up on YouTube in the coming days. I haven't had any more questions come in, David, so I think we're good to end this session here.
No problems.
And as I say that, just one more question has to come in.
No worries.
Sorry, I'm just fiddling around with this. So yeah, sorry, this from Sue. If you have always banked our payments but not reconciled, how do you start afresh from there?
So essentially, I mean, I suppose that's also going to be the same, very similar to just trying to think of that one. That's a very good question. Very good question. I might have to get back to you on that one. I've never had that one before. I might have to come back to you. I don't know if we've got Sue's email. I can sort of reach out to Sue. I'm not sure if we've got her details. Might have to come back to her on that one.
Yeah, I'll have Sue. I'll have your details, so I'll ask David to touch base with you after the session to cover off any questions you might have. Yeah, she's just sent me on her email too. Thanks, Sue.
Perfect.
Okay, we'll end it there. So, guys, thanks, David, and
No worries.
bye, everyone. I hope everyone has a great weekend.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.